Good evening, friends. I'm super excited that you are joining us for our Christmas party. Let me go ahead and just make sure we're online and ready to go. I see us, that's good. Sometimes you just have to double check so I can see all of your posts. If you're watching the replay, make sure you just comment to be entered into our drawings. And if you're watching it live, definitely comment. That's going to get you entered into the drawing this evening for some really, really fun prizes. So I don't want you to miss those. Thanks again for watching tonight. I know it's late on a Saturday, so I really appreciate all of you who are jumping on. I'm going to be going through the holiday catalog, but also demonstrating some really awesome holiday cards for you tonight. So we're going to start with some beautiful flowers on our cards. So we're going to use some of our floral designer paper, and I'm going to walk you through that. Definitely, if you're on with us live, or if you're watching the replay here on Facebook, go back and check the posts for the party. So there's lots of specials going on tonight, lots of really fun interactive games and posts. So make sure you check those out. And then anytime you comment or anytime a post comes out that has that little green check mark next to it, it's going to get you entered into one of our drawings. So do make sure you're saying hi, commenting, saying hello on the live or on the posts. That way you can get entered into those drawings. So thank you all for being here tonight. Super excited to see you. Alrighty. And I'm just going to tilt the camera down and I'm going to start on our cards. I realize I usually do lives that are like 45 minutes long, and it takes me that long to get 2 cards, right? Tonight we're going to be doing 7 cards and a catalog tour, and I'm going to try and do it in 3 20-minute videos. So here I go. I might be speeding it up a little bit, but I'm going to flip the camera. All right, and you can see my work center here. Super excited to show you these cards. I have been playing with all the new stuff from our awesome mini holiday catalog, but I've also decided that as much as I love that, I love everything from our current catalog too. So let me flip my light here so you can see it a little better. Hopefully you got enough light. So we're going to start with these 2 beautiful Christmas cards. I love this paper. This designer series paper is Flowers for Every Season. What do you think? Pretty? I love this paper. I've been using it quite a bit lately. I think it just, well, the one thing you'll notice when you open the paper pack is you get tons of different paper for all seasons. So you get some spring and some fall and some summer, and it really is beautiful. So we're going to use what I think is the Christmas paper from the paper pack, and we're going to be using that to create our 2 cards today. Super pretty. So I'm going to set these aside and walk you through creating the cards, and then I'm going to do a little catalog walk with you and kind of show you how the catalog is laid out with all of the Christmas items in it. So I'm going to start with the larger of our cards here. Just the more floral. I guess it's not larger. They're the same size. Just has more florals on it. And that starts with just a white card base. So I've got all my little pieces here. And we're going to start by just cutting our Whisper White cardstock in half. The nice thing is this is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And all we did was just cut it right in half. So it makes it 8.5 by 5.5. And then all you're going to do is fold it in half. I like to use a bone folder and score the side. That just makes it kind of a nice crisp edge to it. And then I'm going to set that aside for just a little bit until we get our die set out. So we're going to be using the Stitched So Sweetly dies today. And that's going to make that really beautiful ruched kind of scalloped edge around our project. Paper trimmer. There we go. I set my paper trimmer aside. This is what happens when I do a live. I clean up everything, and then I can't find all my stuff after I've cleaned it up. So I'm going to pull my paper trimmer out to make this card, and we're going to start by cutting down the 6x6 piece of paper. So this paper pack comes in 6x6, but we need this to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I know we're getting into the eighths there, which is a little weird on the measurements, but I'm always going to measure the longer side first, which is the 5 3/8. And that means I'm going to cut off less here. So 5 3/8, so I'm going to get that exact. I'm going to use our paper trimmer. I love this paper trimmer. 4 1/8. And the nice thing about it is the blades actually tuck away. So as I'm trimming, I can use either my scoring blade or my cutting blade. And they kind of tuck away from each other so they don't ever, I'm not going to accidentally cut something when I really meant to score it, which has probably happened in my life before. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but it does happen occasionally. We're then going to go ahead, and because I'm really frugal about my paper, so here's me telling the truth, I'm going to use this same piece of paper twice on my card. I'm going to use it as the border around the edge of my card, and I'm going to use the inside of it to kind of pop up on the top and really make this card shine. So in order to do that though, I have to use my die and actually cut out the center of this card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with our Stampin' Cut machine. This is our brand new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It is available September 1st, so you can get your hands on it if you need a great embossing machine. This is the one. It is so smooth and so easy to use. You can see I've used it a ton already. My plates are already a mess, but that's okay. That's what they're supposed to look like. It means it's loved. All of the plates have numbers on them because I need to know which number I'm using. It also has a description of exactly how to use it, so you can't mess it up. You're not going to use it the wrong way because it tells you how. So I'm going to put my plates on. I'm going to put my paper on top of my plate, and I'm going to make sure I get the die right in the center. I really want that to be in the middle because I'm going to use that outside edge to be my border, and I don't want it to get cut on accident. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this through. Sorry, my table is a little wobbly when I do that. And I'll set that aside. And now we've got this awesome border and paper cut all ready to go. Yay! So now you've kind of conserved your paper. So when I have really beautiful paper, it's always my goal to conserve as much of it as I can. Like, I want to make sure I have as much paper as I possibly can have. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add the border on, and I'm just using our multi-purpose glue. I find when adding borders on, sometimes it's nice just to use a bottle of multi-purpose glue and go ahead and set that right there on the top. It kind of lets you wiggle it just a little bit after you get it down. So if it's not perfectly where you want it, you've got a little time with multi-purpose glue. All right, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to create the background on our card using an embossing folder. So we'll use the same machine, and we're going to use something called the Tasteful Textile Embossing Folder. Now when you're using an embossing folder, you want to make sure that the Stampin' Up! Label is on the top. That's going to be the front, and so whatever you put in here, the top is really that's where the impression is going to be. Now on a folder like this, it doesn't matter quite as much because you can see the texture on this folder is pretty universal. It's the same. So you get a nice texture overall. So it's not going to matter too much, but it definitely does on some of our more detailed ones, like our snowflake. You want to make sure you have that going the correct direction of the paper that you want it to use. So I've already embossed it. I don't know if you can tell. It's so hard on the camera to see this, but it's so pretty. It is one of my favorites. I use this folder a lot because it's subtle. It doesn't have to be all crazy to give it a really nice impression. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take that other piece of paper that we cut out, that beautiful scalloped edge, and I'm going to adhere that right to the center, right to the middle of our card. Nice to see everyone tonight. Thank you so much for commenting. What do you think of this gorgeous paper? I just love it. There we go. Hi guys. And don't worry, if you're watching the replay, just make sure you say hi, say hello. You'll still be entered into our drawings for this month. We want to make sure all our replay viewers get entered as well. So next we're going to go ahead and just add some ribbon to it. We're going to add this gorgeous Just Jade ribbon, and we're going to cut that to 21 inches. So if you have the roll, here's what I do. I just take my roll and I unwind a bunch of it, and then I go, well, I think that'll work. Tie a knot. Flip that over a little. I'm going to scoot this ribbon over to the left-hand side because I want the bow to be on the left-hand side. So as I'm doing it, I'm just kind of evening it out, making sure it's on the left. And then I'm just going to tie my bow here. Sometimes bows can be tricky. There we go. A lot of people I know use like tape on the back to help with their bows to make them a little more sturdy as they're going down on the paper. Once you play with it a little bit, I feel like you get a good hang of it. I would say the one thing I would recommend for bows or any ribbon that you're using is have a separate set of scissors just for your ribbon. I know that's weird, but over time, if you're using a lot of paper with your scissors, they do dull and it's hard to get a nice cut on your ribbon. So I keep a separate pair of snips just for my ribbon. All right, so I've tied that to the center there. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of squish that up into the middle. And now I'm gonna adhere that to my card front using Stampin' Dimensionals. So Stampin' Dimensionals are one of my favorite tools that we have. They are double-sided adhesive and they have like foam in between. So you get a little bit of a lift. Not a ton, it's not gonna be crazy. It's still gonna fit in your envelope, which is definitely important. You want it to fit in your envelope, but it's gonna give you a nice lift and just give it a nice appearance on the front of your card. You don't have to use a ton. So the Flowers for Every Season paper that we're using and this Just Jade ribbon is in our current catalog. This is not in the mini catalog. This is in our current catalog, our 2021, June 2021 catalog. And like I said, the Flowers for Every Season paper is so great because you really can use it for almost anything. It's super universal. Oh, I didn't die cut myself one. All right. Looks like I'm die cutting. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp our sentiment and then I'm gonna die cut it. So our sentiment is gonna be in Just Jade. Again, that gorgeous green color. It's so pretty. And we're gonna use the sentiment Happy Christmas. I'm just gonna stamp that on the center of a scratch piece of white cardstock. That's it, nothing to it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and die cut it out. And the reason that I stamp first and die cut second is because I can use my die cut to make sure that I get it in the exact right spot. So I can take my die cut, my little die here, and I can move it around to make sure I get it exactly where I want it. I'm gonna use just a little bit of Post-it tape, and I kind of want it to the left because I'm going to put some little embellishments on it. And again, this is a die from that same die set that's stitched so sweetly, which is just so stinking cute. And the stamps are actually from our Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. So this is a stamp set that was carried over from the last holiday catalog and is available in our current catalog. So if you're looking for that one, it's called Itty Bitty Christmas, and it has a bajillion cute Christmas sayings in it. So Happy Christmas is one of them that we're using. It also has Joy to the World, Happy Holidays, pretty much any Christmas sentiment you can think of is in there, which I love. It's nice to have a go-to stamp set for Christmas, and that's definitely one of them for me. Oh, I'm not doing horrible on time. It's only 7 o'clock. All right, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that with Stampin' Dimensionals right to our ribbon. And then lastly, I'm going to take just some of these cute little red rhinestones that I super love, and I'm going to use our Picket tool, and I'm going to adhere them right here in the corner, and just like a little, just like 3 of them together, like a little clump. All right, so that's our first card. Love this one, super simple. You do need the dies to finish it. However, if you don't have the dies, you can just use your paper trimmer and cut out a really nice rectangle, and these can just be rectangles. It doesn't have to be super fancy. So just know that when you're watching any of these with the dies, I do try and make an alternate card so you don't have to feel like you have to use the dies necessarily to complete the project. The next one we're going to make is this really cute Thinking of You at Christmas. So we're using a lot of the same colors. Love all these colors. That Just Jade is still probably one of my most favorite colors that we've come out with. And we're going to use, again, just our standard 8.5 by 11 cardstock. We're just going to cut it the long way. So this is going to be 11 by 4 1/4. And we're going to fold it. And again, I used my bone folder here. Let me put some of this stuff out of my way. My desk was clean before I started this. All right, I've gone ahead and pre-cut our cardstock for this. So I've gone ahead and cut a piece of red. This is our Poppy Parade red. It is bright and vibrant, and I think it just matches beautifully. So that's Poppy Parade red, but it's 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then I'm going to cut down our leftovers. So some of the leftovers from our project that we just cut. So that's nice when you're using 6 by 6 paper. You want to be able to use the leftover piece. So we're going to use the leftover piece, and we're going to cut that to 4 1/4 by 1 7/8. So it's already cut to 1 7/8. Now we're just going to cut it to 4 1/4. And that way it'll match up right on top there. And super simple, we're just going to go ahead and adhere those together. I've got my Stampin' Seal, which is our tape runner, and it's super easy to use. You're just going to gently glide it over the top and then adhere it right to the center. So you want to leave a little bit of a border on both sides. There we go. And then I'm going to adhere that right to the card front. So same thing, just use the tape runner, and I'm going to adhere it kind of toward the top. So I want to line that up toward the top of the card. There we go. And then I've got my piece of, I've got another piece of that Just Jade, and we cut that to 3 1/4 by 1 1/2, and we cut a piece of Whisper White to 3 1/4 by 1 1/4, so it's a little bit smaller. And this time we're going to use the Poppy Parade ink. So we did use the Just Jade, now we'll use this pretty Poppy Parade ink. And we're going to stamp our sentiment, and I chose Thinking of You at Christmas. So the same set, it came from that Itty Bitty Christmas set. And we're going to stamp that just toward the top here. We're going to leave a little room on top because I want to add some embellishments to it. Alright, and then I'm going to fold this up and put it away. And then I'm going to adhere this right to that Just Jade. And when you're adhering it down, you might want to leave just a little bit at the bottom. You don't really have to adhere that because we're actually going to cut like a triangle out. We're going to turn this into a little flag. So, trim that up a little bit. There we go. So you need your scissors again. And to cut the flag, you're going to go ahead and go right from the center. You're just going to cut one little strip up the center. Okay? And then from the sides, you're actually going to cut to the top of the strip. So I cut one side, I cut from the other side. So I didn't measure anything. I just cut it. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I think it makes a nice little flag there at the end. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop that up with some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I'm going to adhere that right to the front of our card. Oh man, I lost my feed here. I see all of you still though. Thank you again for joining us. And I'm going to line this up with this Poppy Parade right at the top. So I want that to kind of be where I start my little flag. There we go. And then lastly, to just pretty it up a bit, I'm going to use some of these red rhinestones again. They're just so pretty. And you get a ton of them, so don't be afraid to use them on your project. Just such a pretty red color. They go with all of our reds too. They really do look pretty with all the different reds that we have. And there you go. So that's 2 Christmas cards using that Flowers for Every Season designer paper. So that paper is going to show up in the link next. So definitely check out the rest of the party posts. Thank you again for joining us. I have lots of prizes to give away, so I don't want you to miss out on that. Really quickly, let me walk you through just some of the products that we have in the current catalog. So Itty Bitty Christmas is one of them. That's the one we used today. Starting on page 57, you're going to see all, and this is from the current catalog, you're going to see all of our gorgeous Christmas collections. So we have some beautiful Christmas stamps here. This Rustic Retreat is beautiful. I love Season's Greetings. As you turn the page, we've got our snow front. We have this gorgeous snow globe, and it has a die set to go with it and actual snow globes that you can put on there to make shaker cards. So you can make some really fun cards with that one. Nature's Beauty is here. We've got our Perfectly Plaid, and we'll be using that later with the punch. Toll Christmas, Winter Woods. We have our Itty Bitty Christmas over here, our tags, and our snowman. Let me show you those. Pulled out a couple of my favorites to show you. So here's the snow front. I love this one. It's beautiful. It looks like watercolor painting when you stamp with it. The tags is great because you can make tags, but I put them on my cards. So I use them as tags too, but they're really cute. And there's Halloween, Valentine's, and Christmas. And this snowman set is probably still the most popular set I've worked with. It is my favorite. So we'll be using that later in the season for sure. All right, thanks for letting me show you some beautiful cards. I'll be back on soon to show you a couple more Christmas cards. So enjoy the posts, engage with each other, and I'll look forward to chatting with you soon.